So I recently upgraded to the Nintendo Switch OLED, and after using it for a couple of weeks and comparing it to my regular Nintendo Switch, I can honestly say that Nintendo Switch OLED is definitely the better choice. Now obviously, if you're going to the Switch OLED from a regular Switch, the screen is going to be the biggest upgrade. It's in the name, it's an OLED Switch, but there are other differences in the kind of design and the build of the OLED that is going to make it just a little bit better than the Nintendo Switch, and why I recommend that you go with the OLED if you're choosing between these two. But first, you might be asking yourself, why go for the Nintendo Switch over other kind of portable gaming consoles out there? And I know there are other ones that are going to be Windows based, such as the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, and then you have other new ones like the Lenovo Legion Go that's going to be massive, but those are going to be a little more expensive than the Nintendo Switch, and they're also going to be more powerful, but they're going to be on a completely different kind of level of gaming than that of the Nintendo Switch. And by that I mean that if you think about it, anyone that's going for a Nintendo Switch is most likely going for the Switch because of the first party titles. Anything Mario, Pokemon, Zelda, Kirby, all of those titles are made only for the Nintendo Switch rather than for any of those other gaming devices that I mentioned. Now, even though emulators do exist, I don't like using emulators because for the most part, they can be a little buggy and it does take a lot of steps. So for a lot of beginner gamers, a lot of casual gamers, that's going to be a little too many steps just to kind of get the console and then do all of that just to play a single game. And the second reason why the Nintendo Switch is a great gaming device is going to be because it is still the couch co-op king. And by that, I mean that anytime you have friends over, anytime you have kind of even your family over, the Switch is going to be a great device to get everyone together, and people of all ages can still jump on and enjoy the game because it's not going to be something that's super complicated. Something like Mario Kart, you just have to click go and then kind of steer the wheel, and that's all you really have to do, and you can still have fun with the whole family. And I personally use the couch co-op mode whenever me and my wife sit down to play some video games. We mainly play Mario Kart and Overcooked, and we've really been enjoying kind of sitting down and relaxing. Again, we're casual gamers, so having that opportunity to still spend time together and still game is a really great option. And if you guys have any other recommendations for any couch co-op games, leave them down in the comments. We're always looking for something new to play, and especially now that we kind of have that Nintendo Switch bug, we've been looking for more titles that we can add to our collection. And then the third reason why the Nintendo Switch is definitely the one to pick is because even though there are other emulators out there, like I mentioned, some of them might be a little buggy, some of them take multiple steps kind of to install. So for the casual gamer, that might be a little bit much, but with the Nintendo Switch and a Nintendo online subscription, you'll be able to play first party emulation of games like the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo first ever Nintendo that was created. And then if you go for the premium, you can kind of access other ones from the Game Boy Advance, and I believe the Sega Genesis is also on there. So you get plenty of other titles that you can play if you pay for the Nintendo online subscription, which is going to be a lot cheaper than kind of going out and buying a different emulating device, and this one offers great titles. I will say that a lot of these titles are going to be more limited, but at the same time it is first party, so usually there's not as many bugs, but you will be missing out on games like all the Pokemon ones. There's some other Mario ones that are missing, but it does have the classics such as Mario Kart and some other Kirby and Zelda games. But overall, the Nintendo Switch is a great choice for a casual gamer that's not really looking to be super competitive, which is why the OLED screen is going to be great, and kind of having it in that portable mode is also great because you can just sit back and relax on the couch, or you can use it on the bed, or you can use it really wherever and still enjoy playing a game. So when you ask yourself, why should I go for the OLED? The answer is simply right there. If you're someone that's going to be using it portably, you're a casual gamer that just likes to take your system wherever you go, kind of going for that better screen on the OLED is going to be a reason enough to upgrade because the colors are so much better, the screen is larger, and there's a lot more kind of color vibrancy due to that OLED screen, which is a great addition for someone that's playing it portable. Now, I really enjoy playing it portable, and I did end up getting some grips to kind of make it more ergonomic for me to use. I bought it from this brand called Skull & Co. on Amazon. It was $20. I'm going to be linking it down below. If you're someone that likes playing it portable, I think this is a great accessory for you. And speaking of accessories, another accessory that you might want to get for your Switch is a micro SD card to expand the storage. Now, both of the Switches do come with onboard memory. The regular Switch comes with 32 gigabytes and the Nintendo Switch OLED will come with 64 gigabytes of memory, which is double the storage of the regular Switch. Now, even though it is double the storage, it still won't be enough if you're someone that likes purchasing digital titles. You'll fill up that memory really fast. So I do recommend that you get a micro SD if you're kind of on that digital game purchasing option. But if you're still buying all of your games in the physical format, the 64 gigabytes is going to be a lot more storage than the 32 gigabytes. But if you're constantly purchasing new games, you're going to fill up that 64 gigabytes as well. So I always recommend getting extra storage. A small, I believe, 128 gigabytes costs around $10 to $15 on Amazon. I'll link that down below in the description as well so you can pick one up. And the last biggest difference from the Nintendo Switch OLED versus the regular Switch is going to be the kickstand. Now, I personally don't really play it in tabletop mode. I actually haven't played either of these Switches in tabletop mode, but I have kind of checked out the kickstand just to see what it's like. And the kickstand on the OLED is definitely miles better. The OLED is built a little bit better and the stand kind of takes up the whole back when compared to the first original Switch that had just one little tiny kickstand that seemed very fragile, very like plasticky, versus the OLED that feels a little bit on the premium end. And obviously it's a bigger piece of plastic, so it is going to be a little bit more difficult to break. Not that you're going around breaking things, but it is going to last a little bit longer. And then lastly, all the other changes are going to be kind of to the design of the device. These are very minor changes, but the vents are going to be slightly different. They're going to be slightly better on the OLED. And then you also have a different game cartridge insert on the OLED than on the regular Switch. I personally like the regular Switch one better because it does have kind of a ridge for you to put your nail in so you can open up these game cartridges. Whereas on the OLED, it doesn't have that little ridge. So it is a little bit more difficult for me to open it. And as someone that plays a lot of physical titles, that is kind of bothersome. But at the same time, the screen to me makes it worth it that I can kind of get over this tiny difference. Now, if you don't live under a rock, you probably have heard that there's rumors that a Nintendo Switch 2 or a Switch Pro is going to be coming out soon. And you might be asking yourself, why don't you just wait till that one comes out rather than going with the OLED? And honestly, the simple answer is nothing is confirmed yet. So I don't think that you should be waiting till like maybe a couple months or another year to get a better device when you can buy one now and kind of enjoy it. Especially if you go with something like a used Switch OLED. Those are going to come in cheaper than the full price device. And if you buy something used and you use it for say the next 6 months or the next year, depending on when the next one comes out, you can always sell it and still kind of gain all of that time of enjoying the device, enjoying all the games, and then you won't really regret not having purchased it now. And secondly, if there is a Switch Pro in the works and it comes out in a couple of months, I can guarantee that that Switch Pro, if it really does have all of those kind of great features, all of the great specs, having a better screen, better refresh rate, all of that, is going to cost a lot more than the regular Switch or the Switch OLED. That's going to be in a whole different ballpark in terms of pricing if you're on a budget. And the third reason why you shouldn't wait for the Switch Pro or the Switch 2 is because a lot of these first party game titles are still going to be coming out on the Switch OLED. Regardless of when that Switch Pro comes out, all of the titles are probably going to be rendered the same on the OLED and that new Switch for at least a couple of months, or I would even say at least a year. All of the titles are going to be coming out on both different systems, and that Switch Pro, because it is going to be a more upgraded version, it is going to cost you more, like I mentioned. So if you're on a budget kind of going with a regular OLED, it's still going to be beneficial. You'll still get all those brand new release titles. You'll still get to enjoy them, and you'll save all that money, meaning you can enjoy even more games. And this might be personal to me, but I feel like all of the Nintendo Switch titles, because their demographic is more family friendly, they're not really going to play that great on a 144 hertz screen or on a way better screen on a 4K TV. They're not really going to make much of a difference. I mean, they have 2D Mario, they have Mario Kart. All of that isn't really super competitive. They're meant to be kind of more family friendly. I'm thinking of even like Switch Sports or the WarioWare game that's going to be coming out. All of those are meant to be kind of more on the couch co-op, multiplayer, local multiplayer that you can play with the whole family and just kind of enjoy yourselves and enjoy your time. The Nintendo gaming systems have historically not been kind of more on the competitive side. Something like a PC or a gaming console like Xbox or PS5, the Nintendo Switch has always been kind of geared more towards the family demographic, kind of towards kids and kind of enjoying games. They'll always have that option available. But I could also be completely wrong and the Switch comes out next week and it's priced at the exact same price as the OLED. But again, you'll never really know. If you're really thinking of getting one to play a game that's out right now or a game that's already been announced to be available on the OLED, just go for the OLED, kind of save yourself that extra time of thinking, get the game, enjoy the game, and that's really what it's there for. But I could be completely wrong, and Nintendo could be working with all the game developers to make a game that's going to be compatible with a 4K 144Hz screen and then kind of making every single game more competitive. But I don't know. I feel like if there's a game that's already out right now and you've been looking at the OLED versus the regular Nintendo Switch, then you should just get a system and enjoy the game. But in the end, when it comes to deciding between the OLED Switch and the regular Nintendo Switch, I definitely think the OLED is better if you're going to be using it portably even 5% of the time. If you're going to be using a dock literally like 99.9% of the time, then just go with the regular Switch. But if you're thinking of maybe playing the game, say in bed, or you're going to be playing it on your couch, then just go for the OLED. It's going to be about $100 more brand new and still about $50 to $100 more used. So if you go with the used one, you can save some money and you can go with the OLED instead and still enjoy that great screen whenever you take it out of the dock. But what do you think? Is the OLED Switch worth it over the regular Nintendo Switch? Let me know that in the comments. As always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like this video if you guys enjoyed the content. Subscribe to not miss any of my future uploads. Click here to watch another one of my videos, and I will catch you guys on the next one.